Well, hi, Betty. It's great to see you again and great to be with you. I'm really happy to spend time with you. And thanks, everyone, for joining us and tuning in. How are you today, Betty?
I'm wonderful, and it's great to see you. You look beautiful as always.
Oh, you do too.
Thank you, and I'm really excited. Been looking forward to speaking with you again. I've missed you.
I missed you too. Have you been having a nice summer?
Yeah, I have been having a summer. I got stung by a bee yesterday.
Oh, that's too bad. They surprisingly kind of hurt.
It really hurts.
Yeah. It's like paper cuts and small things sometimes hurt worse.
It actually really hurt. I kind of got like, no, I was like, do I need to go to the doctor? But it's okay now, so I'm fine.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, I thought it would be really fun. You're a wonderful astrologer. I thought it'd be fun if you could kind of talk us through what's going on with the energies this week. I know we're coming into a full moon.
I would love to, because I actually have some good news, and that's
good.
fun to deliver.
Yeah.
A lot of times we don't get to do that. So I have this chart. I don't know, can you see it very well? I printed it because there's an aspect that's called a kite. And I can also, in the video, like when we put up the video, I'll put the chart up. So
sounds great.
And then I'll outline it. But we have, all right, so there's a lot of, first of all, Mercury and Mars are direct. Yes. So now things are going to start to move. We're going to start feeling like we're unstuck in the mud. I'm going to point to some timelines that you can think of in your own life, because think about what was going on in early January, and think about a reoccurrence of that similar issue around May, the end of May, because these are the hot points. And now Mars and Mercury are back there. So we're getting a chance to review. Well, we've had our chance to review, and now it's time to go forward. So there's also what's going on now with this full moon is going to be on Sunday. The full moon is 9:30 for Long Island, New York, and so it's the Eastern Standard Time is at 9:30. So that's just the adjustments. But Sunday morning is going to be the full moon in Virgo and in Pisces, which is wonderful. We're coming into Virgo season. So Virgo wants to clean everything up from the summer, all the mess that we've been making with the fun, to get us back into being clean and, productive. So there's some wonderful things happening with this full moon. We have a Grand Trine in Earth, which is very stabilizing. It's using the sun in Virgo, trining Saturn in Capricorn, and trining Uranus in Taurus. This is a very exciting aspect because it will give us the ability to make stable and make real things that we've been wanting to, like things that have been brewing inside with all of the retrograde. So this is a great time to go forward, full steam ahead, and to really make those dreams real, to see now the seeds coming up, see the plants coming up from the seeds. There's also an aspect which is called a kite, which is kind of rare, and a lot of people are excited about it. So I wanted to explain a little bit about it because it's going to be very quick, and I wanted to let you know too.
I've never heard of what is a kite.
Well, a kite is
besides this kind.
Because of the Grand Trine. Let me see if we can find this here. So let me find the sun here. So the sun, I think it might be hard for people to see. I could probably pull it up and screen share right now. Do you want me to do that?
Sure, go for it.
Because that might be a little easier.
Okay,
can you see my screen?
Yep, I sure can.
Okay, all right, wonderful. This is great. All right, so here we have the sun. Can you see my pointer here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's at 3 degrees of Virgo. So this is all the early. So anybody with like early earth signs are going to be feeling this. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful energy. It's very stabilizing. So the trine you see goes to Saturn down here and then up to Uranus and Taurus. So it makes a trine, and a triangle is the most stable of all shapes. So when there's a Grand Trine, it brings about a wonderful stability. And since it's in the earth element, it's in, tangible, touchable, creating, sustaining real things. And so it's a wonderful opportunity. Now, what makes it a kite is now you see over here, we've got the Pisces full moon, sweet, sweet Pisces over here, and it sextiles Saturn. and it sextiles Uranus as it opposes the sun, which is making a Grand Trine. So if you look at it, it looks like a kite because you go like this and then back here, and so it looks. They call it a kite because when you draw it out, it looks like a kite.
Right, that makes sense.
I wish that I could highlight it, but I don't want to waste time because I don't know really how to do that. So
no worries.
But I will put it on. Maybe I'll write on it and then put it up in the video, and that would be great. So this is, and then I just want to show one more thing before I go off of this and talk. Now, there are wonderful things, and I've just given you some wonderful news, but I'm also going to give everybody a heads up. We'll just call it a heads up.
Okay.
Venus over here in Libra. Venus is very happy in Libra. Okay, I want you to know that Venus is at home in Libra, but Venus is going to be squaring Pluto. Dun, 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 the Lord of the underworld.
Oh.
When Pluto is involved in anything like an aspect, Pluto wants you to evolve. It doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't matter if your arm is in the way, it'll take your arm off. If your house, you need to lose your house will blow up. I mean, it's like cruel. It's just, it is what it is. It's evolutionary. It's not, it doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care about what you want. Now, that's not really in coordination with Venus, because Venus really cares about what we want. It's, especially in Libra, it's all about my beauty, my art, my things, you know, like just my aesthetics and being happy and, you know, light and carefree. So it's going to come into a tense aspect with Pluto. So I'm going to unshare, and then I'm going to explain why I'm telling this to you.
Okay.
All right. Am I back?
Yep.
So think of it like this. We have an opportunity with the kite here now to really fly. We've had all of these retrogrades. So there's been a lot of internal processing. It's been challenging for a lot of people. We've gone in, like it's been it's been very hard to make movement going forward. And like, even if you think you got something going, it won't be what it, you know, it's been a long, hot summer, shall we just say.
Yeah.
And then with Mercury, and now we're getting an opportunity to say, all right, it's time to poop or get off the pot. All of these issues that have been holding us back, that we've been wrestling with, now it's time, it's coming to a culmination. So it's time to fly. So with the Venus squaring Pluto, that's going to cut the cords of anything that's holding us back. That's anything that is holding us back from our true potential of sustaining what, you know, there's an amazing opportunity for business success, financial success, anything like that with this Grand Earth Trine. But the sweet, sensitive moon in Pisces is reminding us that it has to be all from love, all for a higher purpose, not, you know, money because I'm greedy. Living your purpose, being in service, and then being rewarded by the universe.
Right.
And so it's like aligning, but if you can catch this wave, it's a great one to catch. But I do just want to warn people that Sunday, Monday, you know, you're gonna start feeling it Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's a trigger. When it comes around, it's a trigger. So it will trigger an argument. It will trigger a falling away. So it's very easy to say, for me to sit here and say, but it's not so easy to practice. However, when this happens, it really is for your highest evolutionary process. If things fall away that have been teetering, especially since last January, it may be best to let them go, as hard as that can be, so you could really soar. And so that is what I have to say about that.
Wow. Wow. Well, it's kind of an exciting time to be alive.
It is a really exciting time. And you know, we will talk about this next time we chat, because it's a little bit ahead, but Venus is going to go retrograde. Oh,
wow.
And it's going to come back and square Pluto again.
So for maybe those that don't know what retrograde is, do you want to explain what happens to the planet?
Absolutely. What it is, it's just an illusion. The planets don't stop and move backwards, but from our point,
in my mind, they do.
Oh yeah, they do. Oh, I totally get it. I think they go backwards, but I have to, you know, disclaimer: certain astrology doesn't get bad rap.
Yeah.
We are aware that they don't stop and move backwards. It's just perception is a big part of everything.
Sure.
So what it simply means is when a planet comes in between, so this is the Earth, and this is the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the planet in between me, you know, and so it's closer to the Earth. It's like, you know, when you're on a train, you go on a train, and then there's a train next to you.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The train is moving backwards.
Right.
But it's not. It's just an illusion.
Right.
And so for astrologers, we watch it move back and go over, and then see when a planet goes retrograde, it appears to stop, and then it will move back. And then, so like with Mars it went up to 9 degrees of Aquarius, it stopped, and now it's back at 28 degrees of Capricorn.
Oh, interesting.
So it is moving forward, which is good news, but to, you know, for full disclosure, it's really not over until it clears its shadow, which means until it goes past the 9 degrees of Aquarius again. So we're getting a lot of, it's time to really make some big decisions, but there is a little bit of a window because, like I said, Venus is going to come back again, but it's just pay attention to what has been going on in January, what was going on at the end of May, because these are things that are going to be hot button issues that are coming up again.
Okay.
Also, I forgot what I was going to say, but with the Venus, you know, it's a trigger, so we could feel, you know, and you could also start to feel victimized or martyred, especially with the Pisces Virgo axis. It could feel like that. So it's really. And that's another thing I kind of wanted to talk about is our consciousness is keeping our thoughts clean, you know, because Virgo, we're in Virgo season, and Virgo wants to, you know, achieve and be of service, but it's about keeping it clean and about keeping our minds clean and disciplining and not allowing ourselves to go into victim mode or not allowing ourselves to go into that negative anxiety. And it's challenging.
Sure. It's taking responsibility for what's going on up here, and
taking responsibility,
whether it's meditating or, you know, however you got to get there.
Exactly. And some days are easier than others, you know, sometimes, you know, and I think that's a big part of it too, that we need to be gentle with ourselves, because it's challenging having a spiritual practice every day.
Yeah.
Because some days you don't feel like it.
Yeah, and then usually it's so rewarding when you get yourself to do it.
Oh my gosh, yes, I agree 110%.
But some days, yeah, it's hard. It's like, oh, have I done it? No, okay, I'll go. I gotta go do it. Gerald and I recently started like the Kriya yoga. It's just basically alternate nose breathing that they do in yoga, and then some Shushima breathing, and we do that in the morning, and just getting the right and left hemisphere balance before the day.
That's really wonderful.
Does wonders. Doesn't even take very long, you know, 10 minutes, maybe 15.
So what is it called? What did you say?
Well, there's this thing called Kriya yoga, and he's been kind of reading a book about Babaji and learning about it. And then sometimes, you know, you've heard about Kriyas and Kundalini yoga,
yes,
and other aspects. And then there's different breathing exercises, and the one that they utilize for their practice is the alternate nose breathing, where you breathe in through one side, and then you hold, and then you release out the other side, and then you repeat it, and that's one cycle. And you can just kind of do that for 10, 12 times. They say 12 is a good number, and it just kind of balances your Ida and Pingala nadis and helps the energy flow, and it really works great. We like it.
I love it. That sounds wonderful, because the breath is super important. It is that's a big part of it. And even like when you get anxiety, or you start to get nervous, to just focus on your breath and breathe calmly, because then that sends a signal to our brain that we're safe. Yeah. So
even just a big deep breath, you know, or a belly breath, and anything to connect again.
Exactly. But it is a very exciting time. But I sometimes say to my clients that our brain is like a computer. And it gets viruses.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So we need to just reboot it and reprogram it.
Yeah. So we need to restart it and run that antivirus software.
Exactly.
Reprogram it. There we go. Oh, we're getting better.
And this is a wonderful time. This is a great opportunity to do that. And I love that the Kriya. Even if you can just do 11 minutes in the morning, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's funny, it feels like, oh, I don't have time to do it, but I find that if I take the time, it extends time, if that makes
Absolutely.
sense. Because you come at life from just a different perspective, and you can get more done, and you're more connected with your intuition. I don't know, it's a good thing.
I agree 100%. It really makes a huge difference.
I was gonna say, so we're coming into a full moon, and then we recently came out of the new moon. And how would you say, like, how does the moon and the sun cycles affect us? And maybe is there anything we can do to tap into the lunar energy this full moon?
Well, absolutely. The moon loves rituals. It's a wonderful time to do rituals. So, I mean, the lunation cycles, that would probably be a whole conversation in itself. But
oh, wow.
what it is that it's all the axis. I like to think of the signs as not like the polar opposites, like Aries and Libra are not too different. They're one. It's one extreme to the other, just like Virgo and Pisces. Right. And so that's what we're dealing with now. So Virgo is an earth sign, and it's very discerning and discriminating and very serious, and its job is to sift through the wheat from the chaff, and its job is to see what is relevant, what is important, how can I be of service. Where the Pisces wants to be of service, but it's more, there's no hard lines. It's very soft. It's very energy and emotion and feeling and intuition. So ultimately what we want to do, I believe this is how we get to evolve past this incarnation with doing some other things, but is reckoning, like you said, the hemispheres, and balancing them. So it's not like with Aries. Aries can be, me, mine, this is me, I am, and Libra is, well, we are, and Aries like, I want to go by myself, and Libra's like, well, I can't go anywhere but myself. What would everybody think? So we want to balance, like picture a marble that goes back and forth, and you want to try and balance, and it's a challenge. Some days are easier than others, but with the Pisces full moon and the Virgo, it's saying, let's channel this love, let's channel this intuition, let's channel all of this compassion and beauty, and make it of service, make it useful, ground it, make it real. Instead, because it could be a lot of dreaming. Like Pisces are beautiful dreamers, and they have so much, the energy of Pisces goes with Neptune is very beautiful and healing and all encompassing and loving. But Virgo takes it and says, all right, now let's make it real. What are we going to do with all this? That's a great idea. Now what? Now let's
right. Yeah, you're just floating up in your head there. Come back down.
Well, that's why that's why you got to think of it as one side. So it's like one extreme to the other, like love and hate,
right?
Hot and cold. They really are the same thing.
I think in Manly P. Hall's book, or Gerald mentioned that he talked about the extremes, that light and dark are on the same, different ends of the same spectrum, basically.
That's exactly the same. But I agree 100%. That's what I'm saying. I don't know much about it, but I've been diving into recently the Hermetics.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Right. And
it's deep. And it goes deep into astrology, yeah.
It goes deep into a lot of things, and I love it. It's amazing. I feel like this is it, but it's like, there's so much to know.
I know. I have, what am I reading? It's Alchemy for Dummies or something. Break it down for me. But it's really good.
You gotta start somewhere.
I've read a hardcore book before, and it was good, but I thought, well, this one will just kind of break it down even more for me.
You gotta start somewhere, and it's challenging to find good information because you don't know what's been distorted by other people's. Everything comes through somebody's lens. So
absolutely. Yeah, this guy's, his name is Dennis William Hawk, and he's a pretty good alchemist, and his knowledge of astrology and everything is, it's beyond mine.
If you recommend it, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah. So how would you say, like, if there's somebody out there and they're kind of curious about astrology, but maybe they're scared about it, or they heard maybe it's bad, or it goes against maybe the grain, how would you say, how could they dip their toe in the water and maybe find out more about astrology?
Interesting. It's a very interesting, Krista. Let me think. Well, I'd say that first of all, it's people, astrology, when you go back, and that's why I really am grateful for you and Gerald for showing me like the history books and like bringing it out to people's attention, because astrology is the oldest, it's the most ancient, it's in everything. You can't get away from it. The further you go back, there it is. And so, and I've done a lot of different divination techniques. I've dabbled, and sometimes like I do the tarot cards, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with them. They are based off of astrology. All divination tools are birthed from astrology. I've done the cards, I do them. However, there's been times where I kind of had a feeling maybe this is not 100% of the light. You know what I mean? Like just an odd feeling. I have never, and I've been doing this, I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I'm old enough to know better. And I've never had a negative feeling about it. And it's very empowering. Astrology is just empowering. It's giving you information. It's your Akashic record. It's your blueprint. And I think the biggest thing, I mean, that would show you how amazing and important astrology is the fact that the Vatican has all of the information, is the fact that they're hiding this information from us because they don't want us to know how powerful we are.
Well, I know, and it used to be so, like you said, in the history, it was just everyday knowledge. Everybody, or they went to their astrologer. It was used in almost everything. Almost all the pyramids are aligned with the stars, and then it wasn't until really Christianity and the Pope and Catholicism and everything came around that it kind of got pushed down and was evil, and then it kind of resurged again, or is now, you know, with the new.
Yes,
thankfully.
I mean, Dane Rudger, Nostradamus. There's a whole list. I did a talk on this at a library. I did a presentation of all of the people through history, these brilliant thinkers. Ptolemy, the man with the math. I'm sorry, I'm not good with the names.
No, it's fine. I'm not either.
He's brilliant, but like all of these brilliant, well-respected thinkers, Isaac Newton, Plato, they're all astrologers, and they're the most proud of being an astrologer. And so it's wisdom. So to dip your toe in, I would say.
Would you recommend a birth chart, or?
I would recommend getting your natal chart done, absolutely, because after you do that, you can't say it's not real, because how would I know? I mean, you need the thing is too, like with anything, a little information can be dangerous. I recommend that if you're going to have your chart done, you can call me, or do your homework. Find someone who really takes it seriously, who is a healer, who is professional, because I've seen a lot of great astrologers who are very, very good, but they're in it, like you can damage somebody. You can really damage somebody. You can look at somebody's chart and say, you have Saturn in the 7th house, you're never going to have a happy marriage. Now you just test this, but that's not true. Because what I tell, and that's the negative. That certainly is the negative, low expression. But Paul McCartney and his wife, the blonde, the one who died, what was her name? Chris, you know what I mean? Paul McCartney, and he was married. He was there was a Saturn cycle. They both had Saturn in the 7th house.
Oh, wow.
And I don't see a happier marriage. They were very happy together.
Yeah, so there's free will and choice in all of it too, right?
Absolutely. It's raising your vibration. It shows you your potential. There's, we have choices. We don't have to do anything. We could sit around and eat crackers and watch Netflix until we die, or we could, act on our
evolve.
Evolve, yes, and evolve. Exactly. I think that no matter, even if you did sit on the couch and watch, Netflix, you'd still evolve a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you consciously, with astrology, it's amazing. It gives it always works. It's and it helped me amazing with my energy and just learning who I am. I recommend having it done, but you've got to be careful and find someone who looks at themselves as a healer, who is looking to empower you, because sometimes people it's very impressive to say something to somebody, that may or may not be true, and then people get their ego, you know what I'm saying? Their ego, it's very it bolsters your ego if somebody sits in front of you and says, oh, wow, you're amazing. How do you know that? That's great.
Right.
But you want to always be kind, and you want to remember, I always remind myself, I do nothing of myself. It is the spirit that dwells in me, and there is no separation. So
right.
I don't want to hurt anybody because I'm hurting myself.
Sure.
It's no separation, really. And that's, I believe that's what I believe. That's, I mean, this is through my lens.
Yeah, no, I do too. Like, we're all one. Yeah.
We are all one. We all going to go back to the same place we all came from. So we're all brothers and sisters and fellow travelers. And I feel that, I mean, try to get a birth chart if somebody's interested in it. I would recommend, you can't just go by the sun sign. You really can't. Because
and maybe you have like a deep burning question, or you're about to launch something this new moon or something, and you know, this could
wonderful
kind of help clarify, you know. And you offer other services too.
Well, there's a technique called Horary, which is this is the fortune telling aspect of astrology, which, you know, I always try to get away from, but this is an amazing tool. People want to know questions. People want to know things. And Horary, the way that you can find out but it's very specific, because timing in astrology, timing is everything. You know, you need to know the time, and especially for horror, you can't do it if you don't know the time. But so this is how it would work. So say somebody sends you an email or a text message or a phone call and says, Krista, do you want to do some videos? You could say, well, I don't know, and then run a chart. And you can see in the chart, because I asked you a question. So say somebody asked you a question at noon on Tuesday, May 14th.
Oh, interesting.
And then you run that chart. You can see the other person's motives.
Oh, wow.
Because sometimes people are lying and they don't know they're lying. And that's the most dangerous, because they might really have great intentions, but you can see if they're wounded or it's not going to happen, or how it will end. And a lot of times it's not what people want to hear. And I say, look, it's better to know now.
Yeah.
Than in a year or two.
In the hard knocks.
Well, when you've invested resources, which is time, money, you know, any energy, your effort, your energy into it, to see how it's going to play out. So I think Horary is amazing. And sometimes that works to loop people in if they do a Horary chart, because then they believe it. But I recommend a natal chart. I can't recommend it enough, because it's about you. Who doesn't want to talk about themselves?
Yeah, and that comes down to the exact time you were born, and the day you were born, and the location even, right?
Yes,
it's relevant.
You can do it if you're not 100% sure of your time. There's something called rectification, where I ask them a couple of questions, try to pinpoint the time. But I mean, most people can find it on their birth certificate.
Sure, it's just right there.
Well, a lot of times people tell me they don't know it, and then I tell them how important it is, and then within 2 hours they all of a sudden know it. So
right.
It's a matter of looking for it.
Yeah, or calling your mom or whatever.
You can call your mom, but I recommend too, if you can find it on paper, because moms a lot of times will be like, I don't know, I went to the hospital at 9.
Right.
Born until 7 hours later, you know, and keep track when you're in labor.
Oh, of course. Oh my God, you got other things going on. Yeah.
Well, for me, when I had my daughter, I was like, all right, well, as soon as she came out, I looked at the time, because I'm an astrologer. So
that's funny. What's gonna happen? Give me the chart.
I tried to plan hers too, and it's funny because
that's funny.
I tried to plan it, and I mean, I did succeed to a little bit, but she still got some aspects where I wish she didn't have. But
yeah, is she into astrology at all?
Yes, she is. She
interesting.
She doesn't know anything different really, because she's grown up with it.
How cool! What a neat experience.
There's a woman that I know, Bonnie Sims. She wrote a book for children about astrology.
Cool.
She was kind enough to give it to me. She's a member of the NCGR, which is an astrological community that I belong to. They do like meetings once a month. You could go and talk to other astrologers, and somebody presents. She's a wonderful, beautiful lady, and so she wrote a book just for children.
Wow.
And on astrology, so I gave that to Ava, and she's into it, but got other interests. You know?
Sure, she's her own individual. Yeah. Oh, that's
Instagram.
Cool. Really already?
I don't let her put her face on it, but all her friends are. I don't know what to do. It's hard.
Oh, it's a new age. It's I don't even know how you would navigate through it.
It's challenging.
Yeah.
It's challenging. And we're the first generation of parents who are dealing, like they're the first generation of kids that are growing up with this, but we also don't know how to protect them, what to do.
you know, how do you keep them from looking at a certain hashtag or whatever, you know, it's like, ooh, that's hard. Yeah. That'd be rough, yeah.
But I do recommend getting a natal chart, but I do recommend making sure that you do your research and make sure that this person knows what they're talking about, because you can damage somebody.
Sure.
And I've seen a lot of it. I've even known an astrologer who was, in my opinion, one of the best astrologers I've ever known, as far as wise and intelligent and knowing their stuff, but was really like a lightning bolt through it. Like really, it was just like, this sucks, this is good, this is bad, you know.
Oh man, yeah.
Well, I think it's not good or bad. Yes, some things are more difficult, but it's an opportunity. It is.
Yeah.
It's energy.
Yeah.
And we get a chance to raise the vibration. It's all about raising the vibration. And sometimes when you get stuck and you don't realize, like, how come I have such a bad temper? How come I'm afraid to speak in public? Like, you can see these energies, and then when you explain it to somebody and then you give them practical, tangible things that they can do. Like when somebody leaves, I don't say, well, go work on yourself, because
okay, I've been doing that for 20 years or however many years.
What does that mean? Should I lose weight, clean my room? What are you saying? You know,
yeah.
What work on myself means. Like, should I join the gym? Like, so I look at their chart, and I think you can recommend, like, for you, I looked at your chart, but we already know, but you excel in yoga, and that cooking is your meditation too. It's like when you're doing that, you're in a trance.
That's funny, yeah. Especially if I do other stuff and then go back to it, if it's not my job, if I do something else and get passionate about something else and then go back to it, then I really can just kind of I'm gonna be in a meditative zone or not very much thought going on.
And that's but everybody can get there differently. I think it's damaging.
Right.
Not everybody can sit down and clear their mind. I couldn't. I remember when I tried, I find it very frustrating and damaging, because then I'm like, oh, I guess this isn't for me. I can't do it.
Yeah, I had to start with like videos and, like guided meditations to start with that. We were talking at first before I could even get to a place where I felt comfortable sitting alone and kind of silent.
I think that's wonderful, but I think meditation is also too. Some people, like with a lot of heavy Virgo, will give Virgos a shout out since it's Virgo season. Like heavy Virgo energy, they need to, I recommend run until you're going to throw up and then keep running.
Right. Because everyone's different in how they have that energy flowing through them. And sometimes it can be damaging to just hold it all in and not flow with it.
Well, that gets you out of your head, because when you get your body to exhaustion, you're not thinking anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so it does shut it down. It shuts it off. And then you can kind of meditate. That's I mean, it's some things I call a Band-Aid, like this, do this until you fix it.
Right. Well, even like in yoga, they say, that's why you have the asana practice, to like flow through all that energy so that eventually you can come to a place of stillness.
I love the yoga. I agree 100%, but I don't think it's for everybody.
Sure. Yeah.
I recommend a lot of the structural integration now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's amazing.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it can basically, when you change your body, it changes your mind, and it's all connected. So it's, there's nothing quite like it.
Well, it's just another gem that I got from a perk of knowing you guys.
Yeah.
Valuable information. So, you know what I was wondering? I wanted to see, and now I know that because you're like the healthy living guru.
Oh.
And like when I got the bee sting, I was like, I wanted to text you and be like, do you recommend anything I should do? Like a natural remedy to put on it?
I don't, everything's different. And like the first thing that comes to my mind is baking soda, just because I think that's what my mom used on us. But I'd have to probably look it up. I don't know everything.
Well, we looked it up and they said put vinegar on it.
Oh, vinegar. Yeah, that makes sense. We had these terrible ants around here. They're further down the road, but if they bite you,
red ones?
Yeah, they red ones, and they leave like a welt, and it'll even scar. And
oh God!
And the vinegar will make it so that that won't happen.
Yeah, the vinegar, are you supposed to take the sting out? I don't know.
Yeah, I've been doing all kinds of funny, weird things. Like I was talking to my mom this morning, and I was telling her, like when you empty out your avocado, and there's a little bit of green on the bottom still. on the skin, and usually just throw that out, right? And I told her, if you just take that little extra amount, and then I'll be in the kitchen making guacamole, and I'll have avocado on my face. I mean, you can do things like that, and it makes your skin so soft, and it's just really natural, and it's something that you would normally toss out anyway. And,
I love that. You should do a video on your beauty, you should do a beauty line.
Oh, I don't know.
Artistic vegan beauty line. I would be your first customer.
We do all kinds of weird things with like mixing it with chocolate and all kinds of fun stuff. He'll look at me and I'll have like dark green or brown or different things on my face.
And when you live in a small town, you got to entertain yourself somehow.
Yeah, totally. He's like, ah!
It's the little things, right?
Yeah. Well, it's been really wonderful talking with you today, Betty. Do you want to call it for today and catch up again soon? I really had a wonderful time, and thank you to everyone who tuned in and spent time with us today.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. And it's been a pleasure as always, Krista. You are such a beautiful breath of fresh air.
Oh, you're the same. It takes it to know it, huh?
Well, thank you so much for our time together, and I will speak with you soon, I'm sure.
Okay, sounds great. Bye, Betty.
Bye.
Okay, I pushed the stop recording.